Or now let's see if he agrees with me. Bill Reiter joins us right now, Reiter Than You on the Infinity Sports Network. Hello, Bill.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
We're doing wonderful. You tired of hearing about LeBron nationally?
No, you know what? I mean, I'm a little, my feelings are hurt. LeBron called me a liar on Twitter 3 months ago, so who knows how nice I'll be. But I love talking LeBron. I wouldn't have a career without LeBron, so let's do it.
What? He called you I'm sorry, I did not see this. He called you a liar.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was doing a live show and I got a bunch of, X mentions, and I thought, oh, man, I'm killing it. I'm crushing it. But I didn't realize LeBron called me a beeping, an effing lie. Yeah. LeBron had a little temper tantrum a few months ago with me. Sure.
Holy God. Tone, I'm speechless to some level. Well, I mean, LeBron, I don't know. He's gotten a little bit nasty with some people recently. I didn't realize that. Brian Windhorst, which I don't know. I felt that was honestly beyond the pale for him, but regardless. So, Bill, is it worth the squeeze then for the Cleveland Cavaliers to maybe take another run at LeBron James?
I love what you just said. Look, if you're in for the carnival, it 100% is. I know I'm supposed to give you a straight answer. I'm not sure. I mean, I think the window for Cleveland is right now, or maybe the next 2 years. The East is down. They're the best team. Teams are on the upswing. The East isn't going to be this bad in the years ahead. I don't think so. The answer is maybe. The problem is, as you guys know, the price that you have to spend to get LeBron James. Is he still an amazing player? He's amazing. Is he a pain in the you-know-what when he's in the locker room? Yeah, it kind of is. You guys tell me. My understanding is I don't think that would be as big of an issue in Cleveland because of the reverence that the city certainly has for him. I would probably take that swing if I'm Kobe Altman, but I understand where you would not because he is older, and guys, he can be difficult. He can suck the energy and the life out of a room when things are going badly, and if the bleep hit the fan in Cleveland and he's there, I do worry that your maybe 2-year window would shrink pretty quickly.
All right, Bill, so this is the analysis we come for because I feel like a lot of the people I've been arguing with didn't pay attention to, say, Kevin Durant last year. They didn't realize that he was actually the most efficient isolation player in like 20 years of tracking data last year in the NBA 37. LeBron James, I found him to be, in my personal ratings, I had him as a top 10 player in the league. He was second team All-NBA, got MVP votes. So I know they got bounced early, so people thought that nullified a lot of that. How good was LeBron James last year?
No, I think you're right. I was just having this conversation with assistant GM a week ago. Top 8 to 12 player in the league. And here's the other thing. I mean, look, the guy is going to be 41 in December. He is still really, really good. He's a 25-26, 8-8 guy. Maybe he's lagged a little bit defensively, but the view around the NBA is, look, if you can get LeBron on most teams, I think you do it. The problem becomes LeBron opting into that deal. If LeBron hadn't opted into his player option, if it wasn't going to cost, I don't even know what it would be for you guys, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, maybe Strus, whatever it is, and you can bring him in for the mid-level, 100% you do it, especially if you can pair him with a great, incredible lockdown defense. If he doesn't have to be, I don't know, the third best defender on a team, which, by the way, he can do occasionally, but at 40, 41, he's just got to pace himself. He is still at a really, really high level. How long that lasts, I don't know. But for Cleveland, at least on paper, right, if not including what has to go away now to bring him in, you've got a 1 or 2 year window. Donovan's getting older. The aprons are a real thing. The East is so bad right now with the Pacers injured. I don't think the Bucks are going to be very good. Boston's in rebuild mode. So on paper, it makes sense for LeBron because, yes, you're right. It's top 10 player, 100%. The problem becomes, I think, is the price worth it if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers? Or like the Thunder a year ago, do they feel like we're on the verge of breaking through?
Bill Reiter joining us here on the show. Well, yeah, because, I want to ask you about LeBron taking less here in a second. I like Donovan so much, and I think this is one of the few times in the organization's history, like the team feels like there's a player who's definitely a leader, and then there's everybody else. LeBron was one of those guys, and even LeBron had his problems with his 2 stints here and there with those Cavs teams. I do think, though, that if we're talking about championships, Donovan is obsessed. So I think Donovan would probably, if he had to, step aside, or if he had to lead forward. I do worry about the maturation to some extent of Evan Mobley. I think that we're starting to scratch the surface of how great he can be. How great that is, I'm not sure. But I think that we're starting to scratch the surface of that. Maybe LeBron bogs that down. I don't think he's here to leave it in a better position than where he's found it. He's never really done that. But this is as close to a championship as I've ever seen them. And I really thought, Bill, that I was like, wow, we're seeing a team that can approach a championship without LeBron James. I never thought I'd see it in my life. And here we are with another chance. And I get tired of making the argument too, but I want to see them cash in. They've made several big moves to put themselves in this position, but it feels like they're getting passed up by other teams in the East.
Yeah, it does. And this is the year. The thing about LeBron that I don't know, and I honestly don't know the answer, is at this stage of his, let's just say he's in Cleveland. Let's say the Cavs bring him back. Is he going to go more the Steph Curry route or the Tim Duncan route, where he'll play a secondary role if he has to? He'll limit his minutes. He'll let Donovan be the guy even every other night when it really matters. He'll let Mobley continue to develop. Or, and there's nothing wrong with this, is he more of a Kobe Bryant where it's still about me, I'm still the focal point, I still think I can do it? Because if LeBron James goes back to Cleveland, or really anywhere for that matter, where there's a real, because there's not in L.A., real championship opportunity, is he able, as the best or second best, I think he's the best player in the history of the game, to actually be, accept that he's the second or third most important player on a team, and then maybe take over critical games when you get to the playoffs? I don't know the answer to that. I like LeBron. I really do. I know him. You guys probably know him. He's not a bad guy. He gets a bad rap. He is a pain in the ass, whatever. All of those things are true. But he has an ego, and he is competitive. And for me, if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I need to know – I know what he is on paper. I just need to know the role he's willing to play at 40 or 41, because I think you guys have a real chance to be champions next year without LeBron James. And so the question becomes, is bringing LeBron in an enhancer? Because if it is, I'm in. Or is it potentially something that limits a little bit this organic thing that Kobe Altman has put together post LeBron James?
Bill Reiter joining us, Reiter than you, Infinity Sports Network. You had said a while ago, or maybe was it last week, that LeBron should have taken less?
Yeah.
I disagree, but I want to know why.
Well, look, it's easy for me to take $70 million out of LeBron's pocket, right? I mean, I would take a fraction of that and stop working other than talking to you guys on the radio and chill. And again, it's really easy for me to take somebody else's money. We have seen guys do this, right? We've seen Mahomes do this to a degree. We've seen Tom Brady do it. Kobe didn't do it. Tim Duncan did. I have always operated under the assumption LeBron James cared more about rings than anything else. And I have sat across from LeBron and had conversations about how he wants to be the best player of all time. And for me, you certainly have to collect rings to do that, especially with Jordan's legacy. I know LeBron went on his podcast and said rings are stupid. That is just a public relations move by him. Unless he just wants to live in Los Angeles and hang out and chill in Brentwood and enjoy look, I'm looking at the ocean right now and it's 67 degrees. So
congratulations on all your success.
But I'm from Iowa, right? I would go back to Iowa in a heartbeat if I could have the job that I wanted. He's not from Cleveland, but he's from Akron. I mean, if I'm LeBron James, if I'm advising him, you have enough money, you are literally approaching a billionaire on just your entrepreneurial skill. You have a movie studio, in effect, that you've put together. You've got your claws into an agent. I mean, LeBron is an incredibly impressive business person. He doesn't need money. It's about pride. It's about his philosophy that player empowerment means you should get a big chunk of the cash. I get it. He's gotten his money. He's made millions and billions for players. If I were him, I would have chased the best opportunity to win a championship, and that certainly means not making the money that he makes now.
Bill Reiter with us on the hotline. One more on LeBron, then I want to ask you something you said about the Cavs. So Karl Anthony Towns is making roughly the same money as LeBron. And I've tried to tell Cavs fans, how would you feel if you don't want LeBron? How would you feel if the Knicks and their really talented starting five traded Karl Anthony Towns for LeBron? How would you feel about playing them in a series? I would be petrified. I already know the Knicks would give us all we can handle without LeBron. Imagine they had LeBron. I'd be very nervous.
No, it's a good call. And by the way, the Knicks are the only team. I mean, something will emerge or change. Maybe the Pistons or maybe the Magic, but really the Knicks are the only team that feel like a real threat to Cleveland. At this point in July, looking to almost a year from now. And I don't know where you guys. The Cat's very talented. I wouldn't want Karl Anthony Towns in my aspiring championship team if I could choose somebody else. So if I am the Cleveland Cavaliers, I would much rather face a team that has Cat than has LeBron. The thing is, it's easier for the Knicks to pull that off because, as you know, you basically unplug Cat, right? It's one guy. For you all, it's so much depth you have to give away. And I know that's not the model of the NBA the last 20 years, but it is the model of the NBA the last 2 years. And part of why I think the Cavs can be great is they have deep and they have depth. They have multiple pieces. It's a different equation for New York than for me than for Cleveland.
Okay, my next question is, you said earlier, like, you thought the Cavs were in a great spot as is. The problem with us has been, obviously not the regular season. We are gangbusters. We look like an all-time great offense the last few years, and when they want to play defense, they look like they have one of the best defenses in the league. And then we see a very different team in the playoffs. This year, there were excuses. There were the injuries, but physicality, that is something that really bothers the Cavs come playoff time. Their own coach and GM had brought up both physical and mental toughness. So there hasn't been a proof of concept that this works in the playoffs. And we're going on year 4 of this core. Give us a reason why we think, other than the East is really down, that you think the Cavs could get over the hump.
All right, here's my glass half full view, and I mostly see it this way. With the era where you make the finals if you are the Warriors with Steph, or you have LeBron in the East from 10 years ago, the new reality is it takes a while to learn to be a champion. The Thunder a year ago were coming off a 1 seed. They tied for the 1 seed, and they flamed out in the second round of the playoffs. Now they're champions. The Celtics a couple of years ago were champions. They had multiple, with at least Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, multiple NBA Finals / Conference Finals appearances without a championship. They learned how to get there and to do that. I really think that you have to climb that ladder now in the NBA like you did back in the 80s and 90s, like the Bulls had to do, like the Pistons had to do, like all of those teams had to do. You guys had huge expectations for a huge stretch. You were the best team in the NBA, along with the Thunder. When you had that sort of home and away where you won one and you lost one, it looked like you're on the same level. I think the experience you just had of disappointment will make them mentally tougher if, and I do, but some people don't, you believe Donovan Mitchell can be an absolute superstar in the playoffs and sort of lift a team when they rally around him. So for me, the experience you guys just went through, the heartbreak, that's what it takes to forge teams into champions, and I think you have it, but you don't know until mid-April rolls around.
I do want to ask you about Donovan Mitchell. Ken started out the interview talking about the window of the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell has been sensational this last year with his minutes limited a bit. You could argue was the best season of his entire career. Obviously in the playoffs, again, talk of a calf strain, putting the whole team on his back and on fumes by the second round. And that's the second round.
Yeah.
What is a reasonable expectation of Donovan? How many more peak Donovan years do we have?
Man, when does he turn 30? A year? This year? This upcoming season? I mean, 2. I think it's 2. I think you can confidently. It can go longer, right? We know that. We know that sort of with modern conditioning, but you have 2 more years. 2 more years, I would feel comfortable saying Donovan is he's an all NBA player. He's a top 15 player. He's obviously capable of scoring 50 or 60 points on any given night. Yeah, I think he's that good for the next couple years. Then you get into some difficulties at 31 or 32 in contract situations. But he is that. And the thing is, and you're right. I mean, there was a humility in the service of excellence this past year, I thought, where he was willing to take fewer minutes and take fewer shots and sort of cede things to other guys on the team. That was critical. And even though the league hates load management, you have to find a way to rest these guys. Maybe that's the best argument for LeBron. He's a cyborg. I think Donovan Mitchell has 2 great years left in him, but you're right. They have to pace him, or he has to pace himself. He's got to be exceptional in May, not just in October and January.
Bill, thank you very much for the time. All the best to you. We thank you.
Yeah, guys, my wife's from Ohio. Anytime. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Bill Reiter, on the Infinity Sports Network on the North Homestead Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram hotline. Yes.